you can live a life in flow where your deepest heart's desires become reality. At Set to Love, we offer strategies and ideas on how you can stay out of crazy town. See, your human experience is meant to be lived with meaning, purpose, and creativity. You are here to contribute through your essence. We are best friends, moms, entrepreneurs, and above all, find our flow in assisting you to find yours. We come together weekday mornings to bring you ideas to fall deeper in love with your life and the journey that you are on. Take what works and ditch the rest, and always stay set to love. Thank you for being a part of this community. We're all designed to live in flow. So let's go. Sometimes in life we feel pushed to do something and other times we feel pulled. Wouldn't it be amazing if you felt pulled by your purpose? Kelly Coghlan is here with us this morning on Flow Friday, and she is a mom, an entrepreneur, and a soul awakener. Good morning, Shelly. Good morning, Kelly, and everyone out there.
Welcome. Yay! Good morning. Good morning. Oh, I'm so excited to be here. I am so elated. How is everybody doing?
Really good.
We're doing so good, Kelly.
We're here.
We are here. Kelly, I just want to dive right in so the people who are watching can get to know you and learn from you. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what brought you to where you are today.
Oh, I would love to. So I'm Kelly from New York. I am a mom of 3 incredible girls, 19, 16, and 6. Yes, surprise. It was a big surprise. I have actually been a choreographer and dancer my whole life. I love my students. It's been a passion of mine always to create magic on stage. And so for the past 25 years, I have been doing that. But before I am placed here today, about probably when I started as a young teenager, the dance life really wasn't a very nice life. Society is really rough on, young females, dancers. And so it was a very difficult journey for me as I pursued a dance career. I always had that great smile on my face, but, through my journey, it was a struggle. I had incredible parents that are so supportive, incredible boyfriend I had, incredible friends, but I still was just, I always gave myself that self-sabotage. And I was very fortunate to have a great life, but there was just always something missing. And, unfortunately, like many young girls, many people in the arts, I went through a lot of self-sabotage. I went through a very dark time of eating disorders, mental health issues. But again, that smile was always plastered on my face, so nobody knew. I did hit rock bottom my first year in college, unfortunately, where a friend found me, and by the grace of God, I just stopped. I stopped doing harm to my body, but the mental struggle was always there all the way through my life. An incredible life I had. 2 children were born. I toured the United States. I have a wonderful husband, but still that mental state was not a healthy state. And, I just pushed through my life with a smile on my face and kept on going. But I always had this negative self-talk that I know that so many people, and especially young people, have in this world. So when I got pregnant with my third...
Kelly, I'm so sorry to interrupt you. Do you believe that what you're saying, some of this was started from being in dance? Because you said that it was a little difficult, so I'm trying to follow you here. Was it because, they were very hard on you at dance? What was that element going on that you're saying created that?
Yeah, so unfortunately, yes, there weren't the best influences in my life. I had some great ones, but there were always those ones that were in your ear. You're not good enough. You're not thin enough. You're not pretty enough. You're not tall enough. There was always that noise from certain people, certain mentors.
Right?
Yes.
Expectations from those people in dance. Okay, sorry to interrupt you, but I just need to make that clear.
Yeah. And I, at one point, those people left my life and I was surrounded by greatness, but the damage was done. And it was then myself telling myself these things. It was me looking in the mirror saying, you're not good enough. You're not worthy enough. You're not pretty enough. You're not thin enough. And I was just constantly now that noise. It was me saying that to myself.
So wait, Kelly, can I ask you, were your parents aware of this, or was this something like was it just like the atmosphere was really intense and that's just how it is? Or was it something that was just in your world and they were unaware of it? And like I guess I'm getting it, for other moms out there, if their daughters were going through something like this, how would they know?
So nobody knew. Nobody knew. And forgive me if I cry, but that was the oddest thing looking back. And of course my parents know now, and they, my mom went through her time of like just feeling horrible that she did not know. But I hid it well because I was just always seemed happy. And again, there were incredible people. I had a great group of friends, but it got to a point where it really wasn't the society anymore. It was myself. And, I hid so much. I did not suffer from anorexia. I'll be real and raw. I was very addicted to laxatives. So it wasn't to a point where I was starving myself, but I was doing internal bodily harm to myself, especially mental health. So, I only shared this story about 4 years ago on social media. I finally came out, and that's really what started my self-development, which is just mind-boggling to me that I held this in for such a long period of time. I mean, even being in an incredible, life with my family, I would still have this food would be on my mind 24/7. It was a trap. It was this prison. So when I had my third baby, I had her at 40, which was a complete shock. I wasn't ready for it, but I've learned that I don't plan my life. There's a higher, whatever you believe in, but there's a higher force for me. It's God that has it planned out. And I just have to go with the flow. And there was a reason for it, but because of her, I really found my place it fell into self-development after I had her, because I hit another rock bottom. I had some postpartum. I, went back to not sleeping anymore and working and teaching and really becoming now this mom I didn't want to become to my older girls. I was very irritable. It was a struggle because I feel like everything that I was holding in for all those years was starting to come out, and I didn't know how to control that.
So can I ask you, Kelly, do you think that it's when you made that post, when you kind of spoke out and spoke your truth and said, this is my story, I need to not be alone in knowing it and holding it? Was that when your healing started, or was there another event, or maybe a series of events? Like, what took you from that kind of dark place of feeling really alone in your struggles to like saying yes to personal development, yes to figuring out your purpose, yes to figuring out how to have a more positive voice?
Yeah. So my best friend just saw what I was going through, and he helped me on just a nutritional path. He helped me on a self-development path. And he says, I have this, look at this program. It was a growth program. And I'm like, I'm fine. I have a great husband. I'm fine. But sure, I'll do it. And I did it. It was like a 60-day, commitment that you made. And as I went through it, the first few days I was like, this is so ridiculous. This is for someone that's like, doesn't have it all together. And like halfway through my week, I was like, wow, I'm messed up. I have some issues I have to deal with. Wow. And so that really started for me. I really didn't know what self-development was. I didn't know really anything about that world. And so that really propelled me into taking another step, another look, reading a little bit more, investing in myself and going for it. I tried another program. I flew to South Carolina with some girlfriends and we did another program just on self-development. And it was really about breaking down walls and walking through doors of your life and seeing where it kind of all started. And it was one of the most emotional, exhausting, beautiful weekends I've ever had in my life. And that what really started my journey.
So my next question is, a lot of people don't know that, like you said, if I'm hearing you correctly, like you said, I have my life together, even though you were just putting on a face and making it look like you had your life together. So really it wasn't until you took that like you stepped into that personal development space and started really breaking down your life, as you go, oh, okay, hold on.
Yeah,
okay.
Pretty much. Yeah. And because I was almost on this, the hamster wheel of society, not necessarily, corporate America, but just of society of like, this is what's normal. This is what my life's going to look like. I've got great kids. We're healthy. We're happy. I'm just going to have to deal with it, because I was always too a people pleaser. I never wanted to ruffle anybody's feathers. I never wanted confrontation. I would be afraid to speak to my parents at the dance studio. I was fine speaking to my students, but there was always this weird, funky little girl feeling that I always had. And as I started to break down those walls and look back at this young Kelly, this teenager Kelly, and walk in, and I walked in that door and I hugged my teenage self, and I thanked her. I thanked her for pushing through and never giving up on herself. And I thanked her for all the hardship and all the self-sabotage, because that young girl, all those struggles that brought me to this place where I'm sitting here today. And having 3 young girls myself is one of my massive whys, because I don't want them to have to wait till they're 40 to figure it out. I mean, I don't have it figured out, but I want them to love themselves. And I think that's what it really comes down to, is looking into the mirror. I can finally look in the mirror and say, I love you. You are worth it. And for 40 plus years, I could not do that. And it wasn't until I could do that, then I could give the best part of me to other people. I could contribute more. I could love more. I could see really the world the way God intended us to see the world, to live that life of abundance. And that's where I'm in the place now. I'm continuing to grow. My faith has grown. My contribution has grown. And it was almost, I love analogies. So if anybody's ever seen the movie Tangled, I love Tangled. I love Rapunzel. But there's a point in the movie where they're underwater with Flynn Rider, and her hair starts to glow, and it goes into the bricks. And I think often that we all have this light inside of us, right? But because of society or what we say to ourselves, self-sabotage, these bricks have just covered up our light. And I have slowly, constantly, consistently started to chip away at those bricks so my light can shine brighter. And now my passion and my pull is just to do the same for other people. And I've realized when I'm helping people or just pouring love into people, that their light starts to shine brighter. And then it's just like this incredible ripple effect. And that's what just lights me up even more. So I love that.
Kelly, I think that's beautiful. Your story is just so amazing. And the fact that you have your 3 daughters that are, watching what you do, because basically we all know they learn by what we do, not really by what we say. So you're becoming this amazing example. But I feel pulled to ask you too for this. You have many, many years of kind of lying to yourself, in the sense like keeping those secrets and not want, like I find that I do this too, even though I've been on this journey of, self-help and all that. Would you have a suggestion for people that find themselves slipping back into some of their old ways? Because I think some of that sabotaging stuff wants to creep its head. Do you have something that you could tell the people that you do? Because you sound so amazing. Do you ever have those days?
A lot. I do. I have those days. I think that the biggest difference now for me is I don't stay there. So we all dip, and especially this past, gosh, 2020 was a rough year for so many people. Um, but if this has been a 6-year journey for me, right? And it's not all pretty, and it's a lot of work. But what I found for myself is, and it's hard, but to take the time for yourself, to fill your cup. So for me personally, the things that have worked for me is I need my mornings. And people think I'm crazy, but I get up anywhere between 4:30 and 5:30 in the morning. And I move my body, whether it's working out, but I always take that time for prayer, for meditation, for journaling, to really set my intentions for the day. And that helps me prepare for the rest of my day. And if I miss that, my day is off. It is completely off. And I need to fill my cup so I could fill other people's cups. Because if I'm constantly doing for others, which I love to do, but I don't fill my cup, I'm dried out. And then I'm not my best version of myself. So it's going to look different for everybody, of course. And it's not going to be easy. There's a great book besides Eva's fabulous book that you all need to get. I love it. That one of the first books I read was The Morning Miracle by Hal Elrod. And that book set me for my morning ritual. And it was tough. It was tough, but it's about staying consistent. Your body needs a good 120 days approximately to really set a new pattern. And the first few mornings I was up, this is great. And then like a week hit, 2 weeks hit. I'm like, I can't do this. But I set my intention. I decided, I cut off everything that was not going to serve me. And now it's a pattern for me. It's a habit. So I would say, start your morning right. And you hear it all the time, but it's really how your day will reflect how your morning is. Mm-hmm. And so that's really important to me. Living in gratitude, I know it sounds a little foo-foo, but when I tell you, and I know I'm sure you ladies can attest, when you live in massive gratitude for everything, yes. The fact that I have a blanket on my lap because we have freezing rain out there, the fact that, I have light, that I have air in my lungs, that my heart is beating, that I've screwed up on, whatever. There's gratitude for everything. I'm thankful for the failure. I'm thankful for it all. And it's not easy. But one other thing that I love that a friend taught me is before I go to sleep at night, you might want to write it out. For me, I just close my eyes and do it. But I say 5 things that I'm thankful for that day. And it might be that I got a shower that day. Who knows that, I got to brush my teeth with my 3 kids running around, like whatever. But 5 things that occurred that day that I can say thank you. And when I tell you that works tremendously, that has helped me so much. So I would say just starting your morning and ending your day with gratitude and love. So yeah, I hope that answered your question.
You are such a beautiful person. Seriously, you have so much love just exuding out of you, and I'm grateful for that you were here today. Really.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much. You're so sweet. Thank you. And I think that's value, right? I feel I'm in gratitude because you brought me value, and I feel like that's the cycle of life and love is as long as you're bringing value into the world. And someone asked me between a push and a pull, and we can be inspired and motivated all the time. You can read as many books as you want, podcasts, whatever. You can go to events, but unless you take massive action and actually do something with it, that inspiration and motivation is just going to go to waste. You'll come home from the event, or you'll close the book, and then it'll be done. So it's really about taking that action, and messy action, really, because sometimes you don't know what the heck you're going to do. You don't know which way you're supposed to go, So I feel like that we need to do something with that. And I ask my girls all the time, and before my self-development journey, I would be like, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? Like those questions, right? What do you want to do? What do you want to be? And I've switched the question with my girls, and I say, what makes your heart like pound a little bit? Like, what excites you? What do you love? What don't you love? What like, gets that blood juice, and what, and for me, I think that's where you can start to tap into like passions and what drives you. And that's what pulls you to do the things that you're meant to do in this world.
Yes.
Not because if you're being pushed, you're eventually going to be not have that motivation anymore. But if you're being pulled by something, that is something inside of you. That's your higher self, your true essence, just like speaking to you. It's like a little whisper, but it's something, and you need to go with that. So yeah, massive action.
I love it. I love it. Kelly, you have given us so much great information. I love the how you opened and really talked about like just becoming aware, like you don't know what you don't know. So not being afraid to step into some personal development space. Listen to some great podcasts like this one, or there's tons of other ones out there. Pick up a great book and just become aware of where you are, how you feel with yourself and with life. And then taking massive action, like not being afraid to just start stepping towards things that bring you more joy. I mean, it's stuff we talk about all the time, and then having gratitude for everything. It is a theme on this show. And I hope that the people who are watching and our viewers can see that the things that we're saying, that Shelly and I talk about all the time, and the guests that we bring on, we're all saying the same stuff. And there's a reason for that. So thank you so much for just validating what we do and what we say, and for living your best life, and for not being afraid to wake up to what is possible for you, even at 40, whenever that happens. I mean, it could be at 60, it could be at 12 for someone. But just thank you so much for being here today, and for sharing your story with us, and for sharing these great tips, because it really is very validating.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And one thing I would just love to leave with, and I heard this from Emily Vavra, she's amazing, but there are doors open for everybody, but it's really about being bold enough to bust through those doors and go for it, right? Just go for it. So, and let your fear be a lot less than the amount of vision you have in life. So our vision should be like 10 times bigger than our fear. So just step into it.
I love it.
Kelly, if you ever want to come back, get back on our schedule, because you were really helpful today. Seriously.
Oh yeah, I would love to.
Please come back. Please come back.
I would love it. Kelly, where can viewers find you if they want to connect with you and your message and your beautiful journey and all the love that you put into this world? Where can people find you?
Well, I would say you can follow me on Instagram, which is Ignite Your Life For You, or just type in my name, Kelly Coghlan. But Instagram, message me. I would love just to pour in love into you and support people's on any type of journey that they're on.
That's beautiful. Thank you. I'll make sure to stick this in the show notes for everyone as well, so you can find Kelly. Thank you so much for being here, Kelly. Yay. Thanks everyone out there for watching today on this Flow Friday. You can find us here weekday mornings at 8:30 a.m. We're at settolovepodcast@gmail.com. If you have questions, if you want to be a guest, or you know someone who would be in alignment with the messages of flow and love that we share every weekday morning here on the show. Kelly, thank you again so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
I love you.
I love you. Hit the bell, everyone. Hit the bell.
Hit the bell.